Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Llama Gaming. So I was planning on doing another Splitgate video more sooner, I guess. Uh, but I wanted to look up on Google how to do something within the Splitgate map editor, and there wasn't a ton of stuff popping up. Splitgate 2 map editor, obviously. Um, so I don't know if anyone's made any guides like this or anything like this, so I'm going to try to go through and show some stuff that I was trying to look up yesterday that I figured out on my own through experimentation and whatnot. Um, but yeah, hopefully this is helpful to someone. And if you have any more questions regarding the map editor, put those in the comments and I can try to get to them as well if I can figure it out. So first of all, you on the map creator, you click play the lab and then select like a palette or whatever. Pretty self-explanatory, but like I said, if anyone has any questions regarding that, I can go over that too. But this is essentially what you'll be greeted with when you get in. It's just some starting platforms with the game mode stuff and some spawns, which I'll get to all that in a minute. But I guess it just gives you this off the bat in case you just wanted to test the game mode immediately. How I keep going in as a player is where it says test mode. So depending on what platform you're on, it's going to be a different button. But on PC, it's F5. I actually have a controller right here, so I can tell you what it is on Xbox at least. It's not plugged in. Okay, it is the two squares button, or the share button. No, it's next to share button. I don't know what that button is called on Xbox controller. I always just called it the two squares button. Yeah, so on PlayStation, I assume that would be where the share button is, perhaps. I don't know though. But yeah, like I said, those buttons will be displayed for you. So I'm not going to go too much in detail on the stuff that it will actually tell you how to do, because there's some more complicated stuff that it doesn't tell you how to do. Obviously, like I said, you can see all the controls on the side there. Movement, look around, stuff like that. And yeah, you can change how fast you move around when you're in the build mode, fly around. Okay, and then to actually select something, you just click on it, which on controller I assume is look at it, press RT, R2, whatever the trigger button is. And then you have some options for modifying an object. When you click on it by default, it'll give you the option to rotate it, which is what the round parts are, and an option to like move it, like vertically, horizontally, whatever direction. These modifiers up here will tell you how much it's moving each time. So if I move just the slightest bit angled like that, it's always going to be 15 degrees unless I set it lower. If I move like this, it's always going to move a minimum of 50 centimeters each time. And if I make it bigger, which you click on the scale one, you can do that, and they'll make it a quarter of a meter bigger each time. No, something like that. But like I said, you can adjust those. Also, if you don't want to click on these at the top, you can also press the cycle transforms button, and that just gives you more options as well there for moving, changing the size, rotating. You can also copy an item and paste it. There's the paste button there. On PC, it's Control C. Let me see what it is on controller real quick. Okay. So the paste is Oh, okay. So you hold Y on the item, or yeah, you hold Y on the item, and it'll give you an option to copy if you're on controller, which is triangle on the PlayStation controller. And then from there, there's just a copy button up there, paste button, and it also will tell you on the side what buttons you can press. You can also select multiple items, which it'll tell you how to do that as well, and move them, rotate them, grow them, all at the same time if you wanted to do that. Okay, so Now I will show you how to place stuff if you want to. That is all under the catalog menu. So they have biomes, which is where you're going to find like rocks, like natural looking stuff. You can actually find some natural terrain platforms like that and whatnot. So this is general stuff. You can, of course, rotate this, grow this, shrink it, move it. And then there's buildings and stuff in there. Not a whole lot in the decals. Gameplay, that's important. We'll get to that. And yeah, portals. Right now they don't have a launch portal as far as I know. Someone can correct me in the comments if they do know how to get it. Like, I know you can get this one in prefabs, but the problem is you can't like modify it very well. So hopefully they add one in this tab, and some round portals would be nice as well. So this is where you're going to find like most of your map building stuff. Yeah, blocks and whatnot. You can of course grow these. Primitives don't have any textures on them, but you can change the color, which that was what I was actually looking up how you do that, because I didn't know, and I will be showing you guys that shortly. I'm just seeing if there's anything else. Yeah, the blocks and stuff, plenty of block types and whatnot. I'm sure they're going to add more to this as time goes on as well, so that'll be interesting to see what they add. So yeah, let's actually go with the block real quick. So let's say you have this block here and you want to make it bigger. Just do the transforms like we talked about. As you can see up there, scale option. And I'm happy with it at that size. But I want it to be red instead. What you do is you go to this tools section. And here you can see the material color. If I shift everything down here, and you might have to mess with it a little bit to see what the color will actually look like, but as you can see now we have a red block here. And you can do that for any color with the combination of red, green, and blue. Like I said, you're going to have to play around with the values to get what you want, but that's actually how you go ahead and change the color. You can also change the scale, the rotation, the location, just the same way you do by moving around like this, except you can be a little bit more specific if you enter the exact numbers you know you want. And the outliner here, what that does is that just tells you all the stuff that is placed on the map right now. So that list can get pretty extensive, especially since you can have up to 5,000 items as you see at the bottom. But yeah, so there's the color, modifying items and whatnot. Oh yes, another thing I wanted to show was spawns. So they actually have some placed, but I'm going to go ahead and just place another one for the sake of demonstration. Weapon spawn. Let's see. I didn't actually mess with these too much yesterday, so let's see if there's anything we can transform with them. No. Okay. So for the power weapon spawns, you can't choose what weapons spawn on them right now, but I think that'd be interesting. So this is a player spawn. By default, it's just like a free-for-all spawn. To change what team it's on, you go under here, you go to details, obviously, and team ID 255 means no team, means free-for-all spawn. If you do 0, that's going to set it to alpha team. If you do 1, that's going to be Bravo team, 2 is Charlie team. And I think there might be a team 3. Yes, there's a team 3. But okay, yeah, there's a few different teams you can choose from. But once you get past 26 or so, yeah, you're out of teams. So I was just saying valid, except 255, which is the free-for-all spawn. You can also change some settings, like if you want this to be for bots only or for players only. And of course, in the custom game matchmaking, you can actually change if you want bots or not. So that's an option too. These just are like if it's going to be like prioritized as a spawn or like not prioritized. And this is important here. You can choose if you want a spawn to be initial and respawn both. Respawn only, in which case it will look like this. Initial only, meaning the players can only start there, or you can do initial and respawn, which means that they start there and they'll respawn there. Now you're going to want to have, I would say in general, probably about as many spawns as you're expecting for players on each team, and probably some free-for-all spawns as well if you plan on having free-for-all on your map. Of course, that's dependent on what type of map you're building, but just make sure you have good spawns and they're in good locations. I'm not a particularly skilled map builder, but yeah, like I said, I figured a few things out while I was playing around with this yesterday. So yes, launch pads, those were another interesting thing I discovered yesterday. So I was dismayed because in some games with map builders like this, you can do the transform to change like a launch pad's trajectory. And this, you have to go to the tools, and then you go down to where it says jump pad. That just teleports the player to the center of the pad. I don't think that's particularly important. And yeah, that tells you. So you can change that, and that'll change how far it launches the player. Sort of. That essentially just says how far the player will go that distance before they stop moving. This is the one that I messed up yesterday, though. This can make the arc of the launch curve. It can make it wider or shallower, depending on which way you turn it. So if I do this all the way to 99, it's going to launch my guy quite far, as you'll see. But you can also modify which coordinates you want the launch pad to go to as well, which is another way to do that. So as you can see, that launched me extremely far. And you can add the out of bounds areas, but there's some already marked on the map that you can't go past. And water. You cannot place water, as far as I know right now in the game. But there is a map preset that has water at the bottom of the map, which kills you if you go in it. So that could be useful to someone. Just be aware of that. They might add water eventually, and there's also kill zones you can place too. I think that's about it in the stuff I wanted to cover for this video, because like I said, I mainly just wanted to explain the coloration, spawns, and the launch pad, which are all things I figured out by experimenting, but someone might be curious, and that could be helpful, hopefully. Yeah. Okay, prefabs. If you want to like group a structure together, like say let's group these two things together, you can make a prefab, and that makes it so like if you're making multiple like mini bases or something, and you don't want to have to build them again, you make the prefab, you name it, and you can just place that as opposed to like building the whole thing all over again. Yeah, and prefabs are viewable here. There's ones made by 1047, which you can see there, and then it will save your own in a different section. Yeah, like I said, if you all have any more questions, leave those in the comments, and I will try to get to them, try to figure them out. Yeah, that's about it. See ya.